Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into, well, the absolute core of how businesses make money and get things to customers.
Right. Sales management, personal selling, and that whole intricate world of distribution channels.
It's really about the engines driving revenue, isn't it?
Yeah.
And getting products actually to people.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've got a fantastic stack of your source material articles, research, your own notes. Our mission isn't just to read it back to you, obviously.
No, definitely not.
It's about pulling out the really valuable insights, connecting the dots, and giving you that shortcut to being truly well-informed, tailored just for you.
Precisely. We're going to explore, everything from leading a sales team, the fundamental human skill of actually convincing someone to buy something, the complex pathways products travel, and how the digital world is completely shaking all of this up.
Yeah, it's changing fast.
So get ready to cut through the information overload and hopefully find some surprising clarity in this essential business landscape.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation your sources lay out. What exactly is sales management?
Right, the basics.
At its heart, it's the administration of the personal selling part of a company's marketing effort.
Okay, so in administration, think of it as everything that goes into making selling happen effectively, right? It's the planning, the implementation.
And control. Don't forget control.
Right, control of the sales process.
Yep.
Exactly. But it's also intensely focused on the people.
Oh, absolutely. Finding the right salespeople, getting them ready, keeping them motivated, and, seeing how they're actually doing. Performance evaluation.
And crucially, the material emphasizes it's broader than just the face-to-face selling bit.
Yeah, that's key. Sales management has to work hand in hand with related marketing activities. Think advertising, sales promotion, market research.
You're understanding the market.
Understanding the market, even logistics, getting the physical product where it needs to go. It's a really integrated piece of the puzzle.
The American Marketing Association, the AMA, puts a fine point on it. Their definition you provided is quite specific.
It is, it says. The planning, direction, and control of personal selling, including recruiting, selecting, equipping, assigning, routing, supervising, paying, and motivating as these tasks apply to the personal sales force.
That's pretty comprehensive. Covers the whole life cycle of managing that sales force.
It really does. And your sources helpfully simplify this by breaking it down into 3 key aspects. Sales operations.
Nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts of how sales functions day to day, exactly. Then, sales strategy, the plan for achieving goals.
The bigger picture.
And finally, sales analysis, looking at the data, seeing how things are going, and importantly, why.
Okay. Now, there's often confusion, isn't there, between sales and marketing? Your material provides a really useful breakdown here. What's the core difference?
Well, the core difference, as presented in your sources, seems to lie in their primary focus and approach. Sales is often seen as the process of selling itself.
Right, the transaction.
Product-oriented, focused on that transaction, sometimes described as having a more fragmented approach, often driven by the company's immediate need to move product.
All right.
It's directly linked to the flow of goods, tends to be shorter term, often one-to-one, and its aim, profit through sales maximization.
Okay, so sales transaction, moving product, short-term focus, volume. Marketing, then, is framed quite differently.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
It's presented as being deeply customer-oriented. It's about understanding what the customer needs and wants so well that the product essentially, sells itself.
Ah, the ideal scenario.
It uses an integrated approach, focuses on the needs of the broader market, and encompasses all the activities that make that flow of goods possible in the first place.
So much wider scope.
Much wider. It's longer term, can be one-to-many, and aims at profit through increasing consumer satisfaction and building market share.
So you can see why sales management sits within marketing management, then.
Exactly. Marketing is the bigger strategic picture, creating value, finding customers. Sales management is the specialized discipline focused on that personal, transactional side, getting the value delivered, capturing the revenue.
Makes sense. Let's zero in on that personal selling piece you mentioned. This feels like where the human element is really, really vital. What exactly are we talking about here?
Your sources define personal selling quite beautifully, actually. It's described as the art of convincing prospects to buy.
An art form. Interesting.
Yes. A persuasive conversation. It requires the ability to handle both the product you're selling and, crucially, the person you're selling to.
Understanding people.
It's about understanding human desires and showing people how your offering can help fulfill them. essentially converting a perceived need into a tangible want.
The AMA definition you gave us echoes this, right? That focus on interaction and mutual benefit.
It does. It talks about the oral presentation in a conversation for the purpose of making sales, but also highlights the ability to persuade at profit to the seller and benefits to the buyer. Win-win.
That benefits to the buyer part is key. And salesmanship itself, that's presented simply as the skill or effort involved in that persuasion.
Just the act of doing it well, essentially. Now, why is personal selling still so effective, even today, with all the digital tools?
Good question.
Your sources point to several key characteristics that make it unique. There's the immediate interaction. You get instant feedback.
Right. You can see their reaction, and tailored presentations, you can adjust your message on the spot.
Exactly. And interactive communication, that two-way street. Questions asked, questions answered, right then and there.
Plus, it's prime ground for relationship establishment, building trust that can lead to loyalty down the line.
Yes, and real-time adaptability, the ability to pivot based on how the prospect is responding. And for many products, let's not forget live demonstrations.
Oh yeah. Seeing it work is powerful.
Incredibly powerful. These characteristics give personal selling a flexibility and depth that, mass marketing often just can't match, especially for complex stuff or high-stakes decisions.
So who actually benefits from this? Your sources break it down nicely.
Yeah, they do. First, for producers and traders, personal selling is a major engine. It helps create demand directly.
Finds the customers.
Finds the customers, opens doors to new markets, and by increasing sales volume, it helps achieve economies of scale. Less stock just sitting around.
Which means boosting sales and profits.
Right, and importantly, salespeople are often the eyes and ears in the market. They bring back feedback that can lead to product improvements or help the company navigate market shifts. Super valuable.
Okay, and for you, the consumer, what are the direct benefits?
Well, it's a way to learn about products you might not even know exist, get educated on how they work, and receive help selecting the goods that are genuinely right for you.
It makes sense. You can ask specific questions.
You can ask specific questions, you might be able to negotiate a bit, find a good deal, and maybe less often thought about, salespeople are a direct channel to give feedback or even, complain if something's wrong.
Get your voice heard?
Get your voice heard back to the company. The material gives great examples, an insurance agent analyzing your specific risks, or a sales engineer digging into a technical problem. That's value creation.
And looking bigger picture for society. The sources say it's like the life and blood of the economy. Why so dramatic?
Well, it creates jobs, right? You need people to sell what's being produced.
Yeah.
It offers meaningful career paths, contributes to national income, helps raise the standard of living by making stuff available.
And fuels competition?
And fuels competition, which generally benefits everyone through better products or prices.
Okay, but it's not all rosy. Your sources do acknowledge the criticisms.
No, absolutely. Common criticisms include high pressurizing salespeople being too aggressive.
We've all felt that sometimes.
Yeah. The increased cost compared to something like mass advertising because it's one-to-one, and this idea of encroachment of the customer's kingdom, that feeling of intrusion.
Okay, now here's a section from your sources I found really interesting, the myths of selling. These common beliefs that, just aren't true.
Ah, yes, these are fascinating because they challenge assumptions, like the myth that buyers are liars.
Or that anyone can be persuaded to buy, like it's just about technique.
Right, or the idea that price is the primary reason people buy. So many other factors.
And the one-size-fits-all myth, a
Yeah.
technique that works well for one person works for all. That ignores the tailoring we just talked about.
Definitely. Then there are myths around the sale itself, like close the sale ASA, rushing it.
Or close the deal at any price and do whatever required to get the sale. Big ethical red flags there.
Huge ones. Other myths that limit thinking, customer is always right, or budget is the absolute max a customer can spend.
Which stops you looking for better solutions.
Exactly. And maybe the idea that the worst thing a customer can say is no, sometimes indifference is worse, or the cynical belief that prospects don't treat salespeople well.
Recognizing these as myths is key then.
Absolutely crucial, according to your sources. It helps salespeople move beyond potentially ineffective or even unethical stuff and focus on genuine understanding, trust, delivering real value. That's the foundation of good long-term selling.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. From the individual act of selling to the bigger picture, managing the whole sales function. Your sources describe this sales management process as systematic,
Yes, a systematic approach that responds to the market environment and lines up with the company's overall strategy. It typically unfolds in three main stages.
3 stages. Okay,
First,
good.
formulation. This is where you look at the big picture market, competitors, your resources, and based on that, you develop the strategy, set objectives, plan how the sales force will operate and fit with marketing.
Strategy first. Then,
Next is implementation, putting the plan into action, finding the right people, setting up the policies and procedures they'll follow to execute the strategy,
getting it done.
getting it done. And finally, evaluation and control. You've got to measure what's happening. This stage is about developing methods to monitor performance against the plan and finding ways to improve.
Which leads nicely into the sales management cycle, presented as this continuous loop, right?
Exactly. Starts with analysis, looking at data, trends, moves to planning, goals, strategies, then organization, structuring the team, direction, leading, motivating, and finally control, measuring, correcting, which then feeds right back into analysis again.
It's a constant cycle. Doing, measuring, refining.
Constantly refining. And what are these processes trying to achieve? Your sources outline different types of objectives. There are quantitative ones, short-term measurable numbers.
Right, like hitting a certain sales volume, gaining market share, getting a specific number of new customers, keeping costs in check, growing key accounts, the hard numbers.
The hard numbers you track regularly. Then there are the qualitative or longer-term objectives. These are broader, more about the quality of the sales effort.
So things like doing the entire selling job, not just closing deals.
Exactly. Servicing existing customers well, maintaining strong relationships, providing technical advice, helping train partners, gathering that valuable market intel to feedback.
Okay. And how do sales managers actually do all this?
Oh,
Through various functions, the sources say.
yeah. There are the core managerial functions we just mentioned: planning, organizing, direction, control, coordination.
Standard management stuff.
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
Then staff functions focused specifically on the people: recruitment, deployment, evaluation, training, career development, compensation, motivation, all the HR-related aspects for sales.
They also perform advisory functions,
Yeah.
giving input elsewhere.
Yes, providing valuable input to other departments on things like product features, pricing, promotions, distribution, even advertising ideas, transport, warehousing. They have market insight.
And finally, liaison functions, connecting the dots internally.
Exactly. Acting as that crucial link between sales and production, finance, marketing, R&D, the distribution network, after sales service, keeping everyone aligned. It's a very connected role.
Which brings us squarely back to the people building that sales team. We said sales management is intensely focused on people. How do they actually find the right ones?
It all starts with effective recruitment and selection. Your sources hammer this home, getting the right people in the door who have the potential to succeed in the specific roles needed. Recruitment is about finding potential candidates and getting them to apply.
So the recruitment process itself, as outlined, involves first identifying the need, right?
Yeah.
Then writing a clear job description.
Laying out the role, the requirements, yeah. Then strategizing how and where to find candidates, starting the actual search using digital tools more and more,
Of course.
identifying the top prospects, doing initial phone screens, then moving to in-person interviews.
And after the interviews.
You make the job offer and the source's note, make it attractive. Then finally, onboarding, getting the new hire settled in and productive.
And where do they look? Internal and external methods.
Right. Internal methods are things like promotions, transfers, internal job postings, employee referrals, looking within the company first.
Makes sense. And external.
External is looking outside. Job ads, online boards, social media, you name it. Using recruitment agencies, going to university campuses for graduates, active networking.
Okay, so recruitment gets you a pool of candidates. The selection process is about picking the best fit from that pool.
Exactly. This usually starts with preliminary screening, a quick filter based on resumes. Then often some kind of selection test, maybe written or a practical exercise.
Assessing skills directly.
Assessing skills. The formal employment interview is obviously key, digging deeper into capability, fit, experience. After that, reference and background checks are pretty standard.
Verifying everything.
Verifying. Then the selection decision is made, usually by the hiring manager. A medical exam might be needed. And finally, the job offer is formally extended, usually with an appointment letter, leading to the contract of employment spelling out all the details.
Okay, team hired. What's next in managing and developing them? Training comes up a lot.
Training and development are presented as continuous, ongoing processes. It's about constantly improving skills, knowledge, attitude, all aimed at boosting performance and productivity.
And the importance is huge, right? Your sources list quite a few benefits.
Oh, yeah. Better resource use, developing critical skills, increasing performance, motivation, team spirit, improving company culture, higher profitability, even enhancing the brand image through professional interactions. It pays off.
So how is this training delivered on the job versus off the job?
Exactly. On the job is learning while doing things like specific job instruction training, coaching from a manager, mentoring, job rotation, committee assignment.
Learning by experience and off the job.
Off the job takes place away from the immediate work, attending special lectures or courses, seminars, conferences, doing selected readings, using programmed instructions like online modules, brainstorming sessions, more formal learning.
Now, one area your sources flag is particularly tricky for sales managers is compensation.
Yes. Designing and managing pay for salespeople is complex. You need to motivate performance, but also be fair, manage costs. It's a balancing act.
The material lists several common challenges. Ensuring pay equity fairness internally and compared to the market.
Right. Related to that is market competitiveness. Your pay has to be good enough to attract and keep talent.
Then there's wage compression, pay gaps between levels getting too small, and salary compression, new hires earning close to existing folks.
Those can cause real friction. Other issues include cost containment, staying within budget, designing effective performance-based pay systems that's notoriously hard to get right.
Rewarding the right things.
Rewarding the right things. Managing benefits administration is complex. And increasingly, pay transparency. How open should you be about who earns what and why?
That's a big one now.
It is. Your sources also mention the scrutiny around executive compensation and the newer challenge of remote work compensation. How do you pay people fairly when they could be anywhere? These issues are critical for motivation and retention.
So teams hired, trained, compensated. How do you make sure they're actually performing? Performance appraisal.
Right. Performance appraisal is about assessing how well salespeople are doing their jobs, measuring achievements against their targets and goals. It's a structured review.
And the appraisal process starts with clear metrics and KPIs, right?
Yeah.
Key performance indicators.
Absolutely. You need to know what you're measuring: sales revenue, customer acquisition costs, retention rates, whatever is important.
Then setting expectations based on those KPIs. Gathering data from reports, CRM systems, feedback.
All the relevant sources. Then conducting performance reviews, the actual conversation, discussing the data, giving feedback.
Evaluating performance comes next, comparing results to targets.
And a key part is providing coaching and development based on that evaluation, helping them improve.
Documentation is important too.
Very. Documenting the appraisal, linking performance to rewards bonuses, recognition to reinforce good work, addressing performance issues when things aren't going well, and finally, regularly reviewing and adjusting the measures themselves to keep them relevant.
Okay, beyond just the numbers, ethics and legal aspects are vital in selling. Your sources really stress this.
Hugely important. Operating responsibly, protecting consumer rights, it's not just nice to have, it's essential for trust and long-term success.
The key considerations include absolute honesty and transparency.
Non-negotiable. Respect for consumer rights, privacy, safety, fair treatment, strict compliance with laws, advertising rules, data protection, consumer protection laws.
Practicing fair business practices, no exploitation, no deception, being mindful of safeguarding vulnerable consumers.
Yes. Using ethical sales strategies based on value and trust, not pressure. Maintaining professional conduct. And ensuring continuous learning on legal and ethical standards. It's ongoing.
Making selling an attractive career also seems linked to good management.
It definitely is. Your sources list strategies that tie back to how managers treat their teams: competitive compensation, advancement opportunities, recognition, supporting work-life balance.
Investing in development. Creating a supportive environment, giving them the right tools and technology, highlighting meaningful work.
Building a positive company reputation, and employee empowerment, giving people autonomy. It all helps attract and keep good salespeople.
The material also briefly mentions some financial analysis methods, like cost variance, CBA, ROI.
Yeah, just ways to evaluate the financial side. Cost variance analysis compares actual costs to budget. Cost-benefit analysis weighs the benefits against the costs. And return on investment, ROI, measures the financial return from sales activities versus what they cost, quantifying the impact.
Okay, so we've covered the core concepts: building and managing teams, performance, ethics. Now let's shift gears completely, from managing the people selling to managing the journey of the goods. Distribution channels.
Right. Distribution channels, essentially the pathways goods and services travel along from the producer to you, the customer. Absolutely critical for making products available.
The concept is basically a network of intermediaries facilitating that movement. And the sources mention direct and indirect channels.
Exactly. Direct means no intermediaries, producer, straight to customer. Indirect involves one or more middlemen.
The material lays out different levels of distribution pretty clearly. Direct channel, or zero level, that's the simplest.
Simplest one, producer to customer, think a farmer at a market, or Apple selling through its own stores or website.
Got it. Then the indirect channels bring in the middlemen. One level channel has just one.
One intermediary, manufacturer, retailer, customer. Common for things like clothes, furniture, where manufacturers sell to stores who sell to you.
And two level adds a wholesaler.
Right. Producer, raw wholesaler, retailer, customer. Very common, especially for convenience goods like soap, packaged foods. Think HUL example in the source. Wholesalers buy bulk, sell smaller lots to retailers.
Makes sense for wide distribution. And three level adds an agent.
Usually. Manufacturer, agent, wholesaler, much retailer, customer. Used when you need really wide coverage, maybe across countries, where agents handle wholesalers in different regions.
These channels do more than just move boxes, though. Your sources list several functions.
Oh, definitely. They provide market coverage. They help with promotion and marketing.
They handle inventory management, order processing, and fulfillment, often customer service, too.
Crucially, they gather market feedback. They help with risk management by sharing inventory or credit risk, and they require careful relationship management between everyone involved.
Choosing the right channel is obviously a huge decision. What factors affect that choice?
Several key ones from your sources. Product characteristics, bulky, perishable, complex. Market segmentation, where and how do your customers buy?
The competitive environment matters. What are others doing? Distribution costs, obviously. Channel accessibility, can they actually reach your customers?
And channel control. How much control does the manufacturer want over pricing, branding, the customer experience? Direct channels offer the most control there.
And once you choose channels, you have to manage the members. Select, motivate, evaluate.
Exactly. Selecting them carefully based on reputation, reach, capability. Motivating them with incentives, support, good relationships, and evaluating their performance regularly.
Okay, finally, let's bring this all into the modern digital age. E-enabled selling and distribution.
This is where everything gets turbocharged by technology, leveraging digital platforms and tools throughout the sales and distribution process, applying all those concepts online.
The components here are vast, aren't they? E-commerce platforms, online marketplaces like Amazon.
Mobile commerce, m-commerce through apps and mobile sites. A huge trend is omnichannel, retailing that seamless experience across online, physical stores, mobile.
And the systems behind it. Advanced inventory management, sophisticated order fulfillment solutions.
Often handled by specialists. CRM software for managing digital interactions. Data analytics and insights to understand online behavior. And underpinning it all, security and compliance. Critical online.
So e-commerce and e-retailing become digital distribution channels themselves, functioning through own online storefronts, third-party marketplaces.
And commerce via mobile. Social media commerce shopping right in the feed. That integration of omnichannel, and using digital marketing, SEO, PPC ads, email, content to drive traffic.
And making it possible are the electronic intermediaries, e-intermediaries.
Right, the digital middlemen. Online marketplaces are one type, aggregators like travel or price comparison sites.
Payment gateways like PayPal, Stripe, logistics and fulfillment services specializing in e-commerce, shipping, Amazon fulfillment, UPS, FedEx's digital arms.
Affiliate networks connecting businesses with partners, and the huge digital advertising platforms like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, they're the essential infrastructure for digital commerce.
And the logistics side is also heavily e-enabled, tracking systems and management.
Absolutely. Leveraging tech for efficiency and visibility. Things like transportation management systems, TMS, warehouse management systems, WMS, integrated inventory management systems.
Technologies like RFID and barcodes for automated tracking, GPS and telematics for real-time vehicle tracking, EDI for automated document exchange.
Cloud-based platforms for centralized management, and powerful analytics and reporting tools to find efficiencies. It's all about data and automation now.
Wow. Okay. We have covered a lot of ground here, from the core definitions, sales management, personal selling through building and leading teams, ethics, traditional distribution, and then this massive shift to the enabled digital landscape.
It really shows how interconnected these systems are, doesn't it? They're the engines connecting production to consumption, driving business, shaping how commerce works for all of us.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. We talked about personal selling as this art of convincing, needing a real understanding of human desires built on interaction and trust.
That human element.
Exactly. How much of that essential human element, that personal touch, is really present, or maybe it's lost, or perhaps even being reinvented in the vast, often anonymous digital world of e-commerce and enabled distribution? What new forms of connection, or maybe persuasion, are emerging to fill that space? Something to think about.